on today's agenda, so swap this little, cream puff right here, from that thing, take that stick out of there and put a different one in it. But yeah, this thing's not mine, I'm working on it for somebody else, but just converting it from the auto to manual. And basically what you need is manual transmission cross member, the shifter, obviously, manual drive shaft, clutch flywheel, the bolts, and clutch master cylinder, and then a pedal. And then I think one of the only other things I'm really gonna have to do is drill a hole over here, for that, and then run the clutch line. It's a braided line, and over here, and should be good to go. All right, so I got this thing pretty much ready to come out of here. I got the flex plate bolts out. That's one thing. All these stupid bolts, all the way around, all the ones you can't get to. I took the little drain out of the stupid banjo bolt thing out of the tranny, so now that thing's just leaking this whole time, even after I drained it. So I think it's just leaking out of the torque converter. Cut this one, because screw that. I'm leaving the exhaust on here, or I'm going to try to, because, on account of these rusty old bolts and shit, so I'm not too pumped about those. So, that ain't going to do me any good. But, yeah, everything's all disconnected. I got drive shaft out, 2 of the bolts out of this thing, then I'm going to lower it down, stick the jack underneath it, and basically pop these things out, pop it back, and let it fall on the ground, and and take it to scrap, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, Blake's been a big help today, right, Blake? Yep. What have you helped me with?
Dipping that shit in the oil, that's about it.
Yeah, he told me I was going to dip the wiring harness in the oil when I was lowering it down, and he stopped me before I did that. So thanks, Blake. Everybody thank Blake. And but anyhow, so I don't know if you ever heard about, me and Blake talking shit to each other. There it is. Right, Blake? So when's the big race, bud? When's the big race? Huh? This son of a bitch versus that son of a bitch versus this son of a bitch? Huh?
I'm gonna get some meth and then we'll race.
Some meth, huh? You don't need no meth, Blake. So I got the transmission out. There it is, just chilling right there. But, so yeah, now I got to take off this flex plate and install a little pilot bushing. Wherever it went. Son of a bitch. Yeah, I don't know where it's at. But anyhow, it's all ready to go. So I just gotta tear this crap off, put on the regular flywheel, and then bolt her back on. Alright, so I got the flex plate off. Anyhow, on these auto trannies, they have this little sleeve right there, and right here, this is what the manual trannies have. So you can see right there, there's kind of like that little break in there. But normally what I do is I cut this with a grinder, cut off wheel, and then you kind of bang each side of it with a hammer and kind of squeeze it, and then it'll pop out. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. One of my birthday presents, I don't know if you guys seen my Motion TV Snapchat, I got this little cut off wheel right here. It's all electronic and shit, but it's got all my safety crap on, and I'm gonna cut a little slice in it. Yeah, something along the lines of that right there. A little cut, and you sit here and bang on that edge. It's hard to video and do this at the same time, but you better have like a little chisel in between that. So yeah, got that guy out. You can tell right here I cut another little notch in it. It was up in there, and then I used the little little punch, and I'd kind of go around. I'd have the crank pulley up there, and I used this little punch right here, you know, and kind of tapped around it and kind of squeezed those edges in. And as I was kind of tapping one side, a little bit of it would pop out, and then a little bit of the other, you know. I'd basically kind of go side to side. But yeah, this guy right here, it basically just goes in there, so I need to blow the dirt out of there and tap that in, and then should be ready to smash the other flywheel on and go from there. Alright, so here's one of the other parts of the swap. You see over here you have the firewall. You need to drill some holes. And I was a little bit confused at first, you know, because I didn't know where to drill the holes, and you know, you gotta have the clutch master, and then here's the pedal. But anyhow, underneath here, Nissan from the factory, they knew you were gonna swap it, so I already drilled. They already give you the holes, pretty much. So I drilled the center hole right there. My drill is too long, so I did a little shorter one, a little bottom hole. And so, you know, I went ahead and I punched the center of it. I drilled it smaller in the center on the little one, and then I got this 1.5 inch hole saw right here that I'm going to go ahead and try to stuff up in there in the center, and hopefully drill out the big portion of it, and then the little, hopefully I could get a little drill bit in there to drill that top hole out. So yeah, look at that, like it's meant to be. And I went ahead and I cut the pedal a little bit. I used that little electric grinder thing. I love that thing, and I stuck a floor mat, you know, right in the way, so I wasn't blowing sparks all over the carpet and shit. And there's the little chunk I cut off. But yeah, that's the little son of a bitch works good. But yeah, so over here, got that all in and tightened up, and the line ran over to that side of the bay, and I'm just waiting on Derek to get here. I think he's gonna help me smash this thing up in there. If not, I'm gonna try to figure it out by myself. Well, I got it all up in there. That was about the hardest part of this whole process. You know, the angle of everything didn't want to work. So anyhow, what I did is I got it on the jack over there, slid it underneath the car, and then I put these straps around the tranny, like right there, you know, kind of hooked up to the engine, and then, you know, one kind of going underneath it and kind of let it kind of droop down. And then I lifted it way up in the air, and then I stuck this cherry picker underneath it, and you know, put a board on there and kind of cocked it different ways, and I had to drop the subframe, and you know, because the angle of the dangle didn't match the heat of the meat, I guess. But yeah, it's in there now. So I got a couple tranny bolts in. Everything seemed to line up good. So I'm gonna try to get those stupid top bolts in with a wobbly and an extension, you know, while I can, before I put the subframe up, so it'll be a little bit easier that way. Alright, so it moves now. Got the clutch line and everything all hooked up down there. Anyhow, so what you have to do, there's this plug right here on the bottom, and it's these two wires. You can't even get it disconnected, or I couldn't get it disconnected. But yeah, this is basically the neutral safety switch wires, and it bypasses that, you know, because obviously, you know, we don't have the auto tray anymore. So yeah, you got to connect those together. Then in here, to get, because these things have this little electronic like lock button thing right here. So see that little thing? Hear that little click? Then you can pull it out. But anyhow, so there's this wire right here that goes to, there's like a shift lock mechanism. And it's this little guy right here. This is the little thing we pulled off. But I cut it and twisted the wires together and taped it up. So now it'll always, you know, because before I didn't have that connected. When you go like this and you go to push that in, you know, like it does now, then it doesn't work. But yeah, so it would do this. So if you don't do that, you won't ever be able to get the key out of your ignition. But you just kind of push it back and then push it up, and then bam. So yeah, there we are. Yeah, good to go. time for some BMW updates. So anyhow, I polished the headlights and stuff on it. There's this little tri-level, there's like 3 hoses that go into this little actuator, that control like the heater core and all that crap. Anyhow, there's like this little thing on the bottom. So you can see it like right there. It's kind of like a little flange. So that little bottom piece where that bottom hose hooks on, that actually like broke off. So I JB welded it, I pulled it off, scuffed it, and JB welded it back together. And then the thermostat was didn't seem like it was working. This top radiator hose would get warm. This bottom one would be cold when it was running and up to operating temperature and stuff. So it wasn't circulating. So I put a thermostat in it, and then while I was at it, I did the valve cover gaskets. You can see brand new valve cover gasket in there because had the infamous, I guess, 325i oil on the plugs. That's about it. These wheels were completely like caked in like brake dust and stuff, and then the car was all dusty, and cleaned it up a little bit. But I guess not really my worst nightmare, but because I don't really care about this thing. But it seems like it has a blown head gasket. So let me see if I can get it to start real quick with this little battery box. And then that door over there doesn't work. Yeah, let's see if we get this guy to fire up. Come in. So it doesn't have, low mileage, doesn't have any check engine lights, and was running a little bit smoother than it is now. But yes, you gotta do Dukes of Hazzard style. But you can see it's got a little bit of a chooch to it. So yeah, it does that. And that's about it. Maybe I'll get a little bit. So yeah, and you could hear kind of the miss. When I first started up, it had a lot. It was actually smoking quite a bit, and I went and drove it, put a mile on it, and then then I came back and it's still kind of doing the same crap. But yeah, so that sucks. I'll go ahead and turn this thing off so it quits shitting in the shop. I mean, it runs good. But yeah, it's dirty as shit too. But yeah, so that's kind of sucks. I pulled the whole radiator out and flushed it because it had some rusty stuff in it. These hoses, after I got back from the last little romp, they were like rock hard. You hear a little bit of the pressure in there from just starting it up. But yeah, it kind of sucks. I was basically I bought this thing cheap at an auction, and I was gonna just weld the diff and do some basic mods to it, and have because down here every like 2 weeks or so they've been having these like $20 like drift days in the parking lot. So I just kind of wanted something to go play around in. And I thought this little 325i would be pretty good. But I think maybe I was the one who caused the head to warp and blow the head gasket on the way home from the auction's a couple about 10 miles away from here, and I drove it here and didn't have much coolant in it, and then this whole thing over there, it was just basically there's no coolant in it, so I drove it here. That tire blew out. I don't know, for those of you seen it on the Motion Auto TV Snapchat, and so yeah, So I don't know what I'm gonna do with this thing. I'll maybe try to get rid of it cheap, you know, tell somebody about the issues, or just try to part it out maybe. You know, I'm not sure what I'd be able to get out of it, but you know, I mean, for as far as, you know, what I'm, you know, currently doing with my life, this just isn't, you know, worth it to me to do a head gasket on this right now. You know, it probably wouldn't be too bad, but you know, I just don't really feel like dicking with that right now. But yeah, you know, and it's missing the passenger window. The seats are just torn. You know, I mean, it's kind of a beater. You know, this door doesn't open at all. I don't know why, or you know, there's like a wire holding it together. But yeah, so that's, you know, the top's in all right condition, but you know, it's not a super premium BMW. So yeah, I don't know, I'm probably just gonna get rid of it, you know. I guess let me know what you guys think. Yeah. So yeah, that's I don't know, that's about it for this video. Sorry this video sucked. Haven't really done anything with the drift car. You know, it's just kind of a shell just sitting here. You know, I put a picture on my Instagram. People called this, you know, the boxer. So I guess I got a boxer in there. But yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's gonna happen with this. I was gonna order a CX Racing turbo kit for the, you know, the 4.8 that I have, you know, sitting over there on the ground. But I do have some truck manifolds, so I was thinking about just flipping them around and, you know, making my own kind of turbo piping hot side. But yeah, I've been kind of busy with some other stuff. You know, trying to make some coin. But anyhow, so yeah, that's about it. And maybe next week we'll have something good.